how to make your own pasta.
Lemon, Parmesan cheese, garlic, heavy cream, 500 grams of AP flour, salt, 5 eggs, olive oil. Whip the eggs together with the olive oil. Then mix the salt in with the flour and make a well in the center of the bowl. Pour the egg and the olive oil mixture into the well and slowly start incorporating the wet mix with the dry. Once it's turned into a cloppy mess, start kneading it into one big clump. From there, take the big piece of workable dough and move it onto a floured workspace and start kneading. Pay attention to how sticky the dough gets. This is a good measure of the moisture content in your dough and will vary every time that you make it. The weather alone is enough to affect this, so keep adding flour if the ball keeps getting sticky. Once the pasta dough has become one smooth ball, you'll have to let it rest for at least an hour. The gluten molecules in the flour need a chance to decompress after all that kneading. Now, once it's rested, take the dough, a rolling pin, in this case a bottle of wine, more flour, and a pasta rolling machine, and get a big rolling space ready. With the rolling pin, work the dough into a thin enough piece to put into the mouth of the pasta machine, and then cut the dough into workable sizes. Try to cut the dough to the right width to feed into the machine, and if needed, use the rolling pin again to make it fit. Then start feeding the dough through. Once you've made it about halfway through the size settings on the machine, you'll have to do what's called a trifold. Basically, fold the pasta over itself in thirds, and then start it back through the machine on the widest size setting all over again. This works the gluten in the dough even more, evenly distributes all the ingredients and seasonings in the dough. Now once it's rolled out to the correct thickness, cut even pieces out of the long sheet of pasta. Stack these pieces on top of each other with extra flour if needed, and cut your pasta noodles from the stack. This will help keep your noodles uniform in size. Once cut, hang the pasta on whatever you have available. An old clothes rack is ideal, but even an old stock pot does the job. Drying the pasta a little before cooking does great things to the texture, almost giving fresh pasta an al dente doneness. To make some dinner, take the slightly dried pasta and drop it into the water. As soon as that goes in the pot, pour some olive oil in a hot pan, then add some sliced garlic. Just as the garlic begins to brown, add a small amount of white wine, letting it almost entirely cook off. Then hit the pan with some heavy cream and reduce further. Season with a little salt, pepper, lemon juice, and then cut the heat. By the time the sauce is finished, it should only take 2 to 3 minutes. Your pasta is done. Drop it right in the pan, grate some Parmesan on the top, and toss it all together. Plate it up, grate on a little more cheese, and eat away.